Hi everyone, this is Jiggie, a portrait and wedding photographer from the Philippines, and welcome to the channel. So in this video, I actually want to share with you a software that I recently discovered, and it solved the problem or some problems that I thought could never be solved. So before anything else, if you guys haven't subscribed to the channel and you really want to learn photography and lighting, then I suggest that you subscribe to this channel, and while you're at it, click that notification bell because I upload videos like this and tutorials every 3 to 5 days. Okay, and if you also want to see some of my images, you could also follow me on Instagram. It's at Jiggie Alejandrino. So what are the problems that I am talking about that this software actually solved for me? For you guys to be able to understand it, I want to give you a brief background of how I shoot. I actually shoot with RAW plus Jpeg when I shoot my weddings, and I shoot with an A7R Mark III and an A7R Mark IV. The A7R Mark III from Sony is a 42 megapixel full frame camera, while the A7R Mark IV is a 60 megapixel or 61 megapixel full frame camera. In other words, the RAW files are between 40 to 60 megabytes per photo. Now, the problem with that is that, of course, I really do enjoy the resolution that the Sony cameras are giving me, though it has a downside. The downside is the file sizes are, as what I was saying, relatively big. So when I'm shooting a wedding, I take home about 5,000 images. So basically, I have about 300 to 400 gig worth of files that I have to dump in my computer and I have to archive. And when I archive, I basically archive in 2 separate hard drives aside from the one that's working on my computer. So as you can imagine, I have so much revolving storage. In other words, when I'm shooting multiple weddings or consecutive weddings, I have to have at least a 2 terabyte or 3 terabyte or 4 terabyte or 6 terabyte or an 8 terabyte hard drive just dedicated for what I call our work in progress. So we actually cull from those raw images, the JPEG files I shoot, as I said earlier, I shoot RAW plus JPEG. We actually cull from those raw files, the JPEG files I put in a small USB that I give to the client already for safekeeping, but we edit in our JPEG files. So that's one problem. The second problem is that you can see the machine that I'm using in the back. I am actually using an iMac 5K 27-inch, and the software that I'm using is Capture One Pro 21. The problem with Capture One is that it's not optimized for those iMacs with 5K because these computers, the graphic cards aren't as powerful. So whenever I am culling or going through the images of my 60 megapixel file or when I'm editing there, it takes a while for it to load, number one, and number two, every adjustment that I take has a lag to it. So I have the loop deck there also, so when I twist the knob, the problem is there's like a 1 or 2 second lag before I actually see what it's doing to that image. And that's also because of the large file size of my Sony cameras. And this software actually solved both problems. What is this software I am talking about? It's called Rawsie. So what does this software do? It basically reduces the file size of your raw images, converts it to DNG, and the best thing about it, even if they're able to compress the file, we have no loss in image quality, nor do we have any loss in terms of how we can edit our raw images. And I will show you a demo later. But of course, with full disclosure, the guys from Rawsie actually gave me a free copy of the software, a free subscription of the software for a year. And honestly, I didn't even, when they told me about the software, it's like, okay, I'm pretty sure it's like another thing that doesn't really work, or it doesn't work as advertised. And I didn't really put too much thought into the software itself. But then one day I had nothing to do. I go, okay, I might as well try out this software. And when I tried it, I was just literally blown away. If you really want to know what the software does, I'll put a link in the description below because it's crazy the technology that they put into this software in order for it to do what it does. So look at this. I will give you guys a sample. I have here a file from one of my Paris trips, and I'll Command I to show you that it is about 96.18 gig worth of files, and I have 1,569 images, okay? So I will drag it here to the Rawsie software. So here it's importing all the images. Then you have an option to save the compressed files to the same folder or to another folder, and it will move the originals into another folder within that same folder also, in the original subfolder, as you can see here. Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna start basically converting everything. So while this is converting, let me go to the website and show you. So the website is Rawsie, that's RAWSIE.co, and you've got an option to try it out for free. And when you click on it, it will actually show you that you could have a subscription-based software, which is at $79 per year, and you've got a one-time purchase for $199, or if you want to use it for free, you could only convert 30 images a day. Now, the downside with this Rawsie system as of now is that they are not supporting a lot of the cameras, but they are supporting most of the newer cameras. You've got the A9, the R4, the 6400, the 7.3, the 7R3, the original A9, the 6500, and the R2. While with the Canon software, you've got the 5D Mark II to 5D Mark III, which was their best-selling cameras, and you've got the 1DX, but they don't have the 1DS Mark III here, the the new Canon R series. Then you've got the Nikons, the D800s, the D700s, and the Z6 and the newer cameras. Basically, all the cameras that are high resolution are supported by the software. So you just download it and install it in your computer, and that's it. Then you turn it on. So there we go. We basically just saved 60 gigabytes worth of hard drive space. And best of all, the file sizes now are smaller, therefore it is easier for us to process in the computer. Let me show you now if we lost any quality. So I have here now my raw conversion software, which is Capture 121, and I have my original raw file here, and this is the DNG file coming from Rawsie. So one of the advantages in shooting with RAW is, of course, your white balance. You could easily adjust your white balance and your highlights and your shadows. Now let me show you. This one, where the white balance is a bit off, let's bring it back. Let's bring out the blues. Basically, you know what? Let's just do auto and see what will happen. Let's do auto dynamic range so that we can see everything that's there. So let's shift our white balance. Let's bring our exposure down a bit. And I think that one we're good. That's the original raw file. Let's see now how this Rawsie file handles the same thing. What we can do is we can just copy the adjustments and paste the adjustments. And they look identical. They're side by side. It looks exactly the same. So basically what Rawsie did is that it took out all the data in the raw file that's no longer needed. That's why it was able to compress it into a DNG file. So you guys might be asking what a DNG file is. It's basically called a digital negative. It's developed by Adobe. If you want to know more about it, you can just Google it. But a DNG file is sort of like the encompassing raw file. It's not the camera dependent raw file. The only cameras that actually use DNG straight out of cam will be Leica and I think Hasselblad, if I'm not mistaken. But it's like a universal raw file, because with Sony you've got ARW, with Canon you've got CR2, with Nikon you've got NEF. So DNG is the most universal raw format that there is. Okay, so I will export it now in Photoshop so that you could see that once exported, the file size will now be exactly the same. In other words, the dimensions of the image is still exactly the same. So the first one, which is the original raw file, is 180.7 meg. This is the DNG file. It's 180.7 meg. So you basically don't lose any of the image size also. And trust me, this one makes your workflow so efficient. Imagine having to cull all 5,000 images. Now you have an actual image file. Let me see how big the image files are. It's here. Now every single DNG file is only 18 megabytes. It's actually even less than a 24 megapixel sensor raw file. So now even your computers that aren't the top of the line or the newest models will easily be able to handle those large raw files once converted using this software. And that basically solves so many things, from hard drive space or the working drives that I need, from culling. Even when I'm culling with Bridge, the previews come out faster, and when I am color correcting in Capture One, it is now very efficient in terms of there's no more lag when I'm using my iMac, and at the same time it's just crisper, it's just faster. Everything just makes your workflow faster. So if you want to try out Rawsie, you could go to their website. They have a free version. And again, they did not pay me to do this. This is my personal opinion on what I think this software can do and the potential of what it has for my workflow. And I can actually see myself using this even after the subscription that they gave me is over. I'll probably be buying the software or subscribing for another year. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please do subscribe to the channel, and while you're at it, click that notification bell so that you get notified the next time I upload a new video. And if you want to see some of my images, you could always find me on Instagram. It's at Jiggie Alejandrino. Oh, and by the way, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Okay, so till the next video,